The universe whispers secrets to those who listen. They aren't spoken in words, but in feelings, in synchronicities, in the subtle currents that guide our every experience. We often dismiss these whispers as coincidence, as imagination. But what if they are the very language of creation itself, the way the unseen world communicates its intentions? What if your entire reality, every joy and every sorrow, is a direct reflection of something deeper, something you're emitting? Now, this isn't about wishful thinking or positive affirmations alone. It's about understanding a fundamental principle that underpins existence, a principle so profound it has been hidden in plain sight for centuries. It's the idea that what you are, you attract. It's the invisible force that draws experiences to you, shaping your circumstances based on your inner state. But how does this invisible force work? And how can we consciously harness it to create a life that truly resonates with our deepest desires? This journey into the laws of the cosmos begins with understanding this core truth. And to truly grasp the power we are about to unlock, you need to understand the foundational concept that makes it all possible. The Hermetic principle of mentalism states that all is mind and the universe is mental. This means that thought is the primary substance of reality. Everything you perceive, every object, every event, every person, it all originates from the mental plane. Our minds are not just observers of reality, they are the architects. When we grasp this, it's like discovering the blueprint of existence. We can start to see how our internal thoughts, beliefs, and feelings are not just passive occurrences, but active agents in the creation of our external world. Think of your mind as a projector and the world as the screen. What the projector shows is entirely dependent on the film reel loaded within. If the film reel is filled with fear and doubt, that's what will appear on the screen of your life. If it's filled with love and abundance, that's what will manifest. This isn't a metaphor, it's the fundamental operating system of the universe, a truth that has been recognized by mystics and philosophers throughout history, yet often lost in the noise of daily life. So if the universe is fundamentally mental, does that mean we have absolute control over every single outcome? And real quick, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos. Now let's get started. Now that we've established that the universe is mental, the next logical step is to understand how these mental constructs take on tangible form in our lives. This leads us to the Hermetic principle of correspondence, which states that as above, so below, and as below, so above. This principle is the bridge between the invisible world of thought and the visible world of form. It suggests that the principles governing the higher, spiritual realms are mirrored in the lower, material realms. If our thoughts and beliefs are the above, then our experiences and circumstances are the below. This connection isn't random, it's an exact echo. The structure of your inner world, its vibrations, its beliefs, its dominant thoughts, these are precisely what will be reflected in the tapestry of your outer reality. It's why two people facing the same external circumstances can have vastly different experiences. One might see opportunity, the other despair. The difference lies not in the circumstance itself, but in the internal correspondence, the as above, that is being projected outwards. But what does this precise mirroring mean for our personal struggles and triumphs? The concept of vibration is central to understanding how our mental states manifest into physical reality. Everything in the universe, from the smallest atom to the largest galaxy, is in a constant state of motion. It vibrates. Your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, they all have a unique vibrational frequency. When you hold a thought or an emotion, you are essentially tuning yourself to a specific vibration. The universe, being a vibrational field, naturally attracts to you those things that resonate with your dominant frequency. If you are vibrating with feelings of lack or scarcity, you will attract more scarcity into your life. Conversely, if you maintain a high vibration of joy, gratitude, and abundance, you will draw experiences and circumstances that match that frequency. It's like tuning a radio. You can't expect to hear a rock station if you're tuned to classical music. You have to match the frequency to receive the signal. This energetic resonance is the unseen mechanism that connects your inner world to your outer world, shaping every aspect of your existence. So if everything is vibration, how do we actually change our own frequency to attract what we truly desire? Polarity is another fundamental Hermetic principle. It states that everything has an opposite, and these opposites are actually two extremes of the same continuum. Think of heat and cold, light and dark, love and hate. They are not separate entities, but varying degrees of the same underlying force. What appears as opposites are merely different manifestations of the same energy. This principle is crucial because it highlights that our perceived dualities are not absolute separations, but rather points on a spectrum. Where most people get stuck is in believing these polarities are fixed and that they must somehow eliminate the negative side. But the law of polarity suggests that instead of fighting an opposite, you can transcend it by moving towards the center, towards balance. By consciously choosing to focus on the positive pole, you don't destroy the negative. You simply raise your vibration above it, effectively neutralizing its influence on your experience. It's about mastering the movement along the spectrum, not about eliminating one end. But if everything has an opposite, how can we escape the pull of the negative without becoming something we're not? The principle of rhythm teaches us that everything flows, both in and out. Everything has its tides, all things rise and fall. Life is not a static state, but a perpetual cycle of movement and change. This applies to everything from the seasons and the tides of the ocean to our own moods and fortunes. There are times of expansion and times of contraction, times of growth and times of decay. Understanding this natural rhythm is key to navigating life with wisdom and resilience. When we resist this natural ebb and flow, when we try to hold onto a high point or desperately cling to something that is naturally receding, we create friction and suffering. The key is to recognize the phase you are in and to move with it rather than against it. Just as a surfer rides the wave, we too can learn to ride the rhythms of life, understanding that even during periods of apparent difficulty, what goes down must eventually come up. This understanding brings a profound sense of peace and acceptance. However, once we recognize these natural cycles, how do we ensure we're not just passively swept along by them? The principle of cause and effect, also known as karma, is perhaps one of the most misunderstood yet most powerful governing laws. It states that every cause has an effect, and every effect has a cause. This isn't about punishment or reward. It's simply about the natural consequence of our actions, thoughts, and intentions. Whatever energy you put out into the universe, that same energy will return to you. It's the universal law of sowing and reaping, a perfect and impartial balancing of the scales. When we understand that our current reality is the effect of past causes, our own past thoughts, beliefs, and actions, we gain immense power. We can then choose to consciously create new causes, new intentions, new energetic patterns, which will inevitably lead to new and more desirable effects. It's a continuous feedback loop. Blaming external circumstances or other people for our problems is a denial of this law, and it keeps us trapped in a cycle of reactivity. True freedom comes from embracing our role as the conscious creator of our causes. But if every effect has a cause, how do we discern the original cause when the effects seem so complex and distant? Gender, in the Hermetic sense, refers to the principle of generation. It states that generation is everywhere. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles, and gender is only manifested in all things. This principle isn't about biological sex, but about the interplay of two fundamental creative forces. The active, giving, outward manifesting force, masculine, and the passive, receiving, inward incubating force, feminine. Both are essential for creation. Nothing can manifest without both principles being present and in balance. Think of it like a dance. The masculine principle initiates, provides the spark, the direction. The feminine principle receives, nurtures, and brings that spark into form. In our personal lives, this translates to how we approach our goals and relationships. Do we have the initiative and action to masculine energy? Do we possess the receptivity, intuition, and nurturing capacity of feminine energy? True creation happens when these forces are in harmony within us, allowing ideas to be conceived and then brought to life in the world. And when these two powerful creative forces within us are out of balance, what are the consequences for our ability to manifest? Every individual is an island of consciousness, yet we are all interconnected through a vast, invisible web. This is the principle of sex, which, like gender, refers to the principle of generation, but also speaks to the deep, unifying force that connects all things. It's the creative energy that flows through the universe, the impulse to create, to multiply, and to bring forth new life. This isn't just about physical procreation. It's about the constant outpouring of creative energy that sustains the cosmos. At its deepest level, this principle speaks to the inherent unity of all existence. Our individual consciousness is a spark from the same universal flame. Understanding this connection can dissolve feelings of isolation and foster a profound sense of empathy and compassion for all beings. It reminds us that when we harm another, we are ultimately harming ourselves, as we are all part of the same energetic fabric. This creates a responsibility and a privilege to participate in creation consciously and lovingly. But if we are all connected, how can we be sure that our own individual creative impulses aren't corrupted by the energies of others? The principle of all is in all, or the law of correspondence applied to individuals, means that a person contains the characteristics of the whole universe within them. This is a mind-bending concept, but it suggests that the microcosm reflects the macrocosm. Everything that exists in the universe, every atom, every force, every principle, also exists within you, albeit in a different form or dimension. You are a universe unto yourself, a reflection of the greater universal mind. This implies that the answers to our deepest questions, the solutions to our problems, and the vast potential we seek are not external discoveries, but internal revelations. If the universe is within you, then you have access to all the wisdom and power of creation simply by looking within. It's an invitation to explore your own inner landscape with the same curiosity and rigor you might apply to exploring the vastness of space. The ultimate journey is always inward. However, if everything in the universe is also within us, how do we distinguish between our true inner nature and the limitations we have absorbed from the outside world? The principle of vibration, when considered in relation to our beliefs, reveals how deeply our subconscious programming shapes our reality. Our beliefs are not just thoughts, they are deeply ingrained vibrational patterns. When a belief is repeated often enough, especially during formative years or moments of intense emotion, it becomes embedded in our subconscious mind, acting like a powerful magnet that constantly emits a specific frequency. This frequency then attracts experiences that confirm the belief, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe, even subconsciously, that you are not worthy of love, that belief will vibrate outwards, and you will find yourself in situations that reinforce this feeling of unworthiness. Conversely, a deeply held belief in your own capability will attract opportunities that allow you to demonstrate that capability. The key to changing your reality is to identify and consciously reprogram these limiting subconscious beliefs, aligning your inner vibration with the reality you wish to experience. But how do we even begin to identify these invisible subconscious beliefs that are quietly dictating our lives? The principle of correspondence, when applied to our connection with others, highlights how our relationships are perfect mirrors of our inner state. The people we attract into our lives, the dynamics of those relationships, and the lessons they teach us are not random occurrences. They are direct reflections of our own internal beliefs, our emotional patterns, and our vibrational output. Someone who consistently feels unloved might attract partners who are emotionally unavailable, not as a punishment, but as a correspondence to their inner feeling of being unlovable. Every interaction, every relationship, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, serves as a feedback mechanism. They offer us opportunities for growth by showing us what aspects of ourselves we need to acknowledge, accept, and transform. By observing our relationships with a more discerning eye, we can gain profound insights into our own psychological landscape, understanding that the other person is often a projection of our own unresolved inner world. This offers a path to healing and authentic connection. So, if our relationships are perfect mirrors, what does that tell us about the authenticity of our connections when we feel a deep sense of loneliness? The principle of rhythm, applied to our personal journey, emphasizes the importance of patience and acceptance regarding the unfolding of events. Life has its own timing, its own natural pace. There will be periods of rapid growth and apparent progress, followed by times of stillness, introspection, or seeming stagnation. It's essential to recognize that these slower periods are not failures, but necessary parts of the cycle, often allowing for deeper integration and preparation for the next phase of expansion. Fighting against this natural rhythm, trying to force outcomes before their time, often leads to frustration and burnout. Instead, by understanding and honoring the natural flow, we can move with greater ease and effectiveness. It's about knowing when to push forward and when to rest, when to be actively creating and when to allow things to gestate. This acceptance of life's inherent rhythms allows us to navigate challenges with grace and to appreciate the fullness of each phase of our existence. But what if we observe a rhythm in our lives that seems perpetually stuck in a low point, with no sign of a natural upward turn? The principle of cause and effect, when we feel trapped by our circumstances, reveals the power of shifting our internal causes. If your life feels like a series of negative effects, the instinct is often to try and change the external circumstances. However, the Hermetic teachings suggest that true and lasting change begins by altering the internal causes, your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotional responses, and your intentions. The outer world is merely a reflection. By changing the vibration you are broadcasting, you change the effects you attract. This means that even when faced with seemingly insurmountable external challenges, you retain the ultimate power to influence your reality by choosing how you respond internally. It's about taking responsibility for your inner world, for the causes you are creating. This is where empowerment truly lies, not in changing the world around you, but in transforming the world within you, knowing that this internal shift will inevitably ripple outwards and reshape your experience. Yet, if we have the power to change our internal causes, why is it so difficult to break free from ingrained patterns that lead to the same unwanted effects? The principle of gender or generation, in the context of personal creation, highlights the necessity of balancing our inner masculine and feminine energies to manifest our desires effectively. If our masculine energy is too dominant, we might be action-oriented, but lack intuitive insight or nurturing capacity. If our feminine energy is too dominant, we might be creative and intuitive, but struggle with taking consistent action to bring our visions to life. A harmonious blend is crucial for conscious creation. Achieving this balance allows us to both clearly conceive of our desires with focused intent, masculine, and to powerfully yet patiently nurture them into existence with receptive energy, feminine. This internal coherence is what allows ideas to move smoothly from conception to manifestation, creating a fertile ground for our dreams to blossom into reality. It's about embracing both the drive to initiate and the capacity to sustain. And when this inner dance between the masculine and feminine principles becomes disrupted, what essential element of creation begins to falter? The principle of sex, or the unifying generative force, underscores the idea that attraction is based on resonance. We attract to us that which vibrates at a similar frequency. This applies not only to relationships, but to opportunities, ideas, and even our physical environment. When we cultivate a strong inner vibration of abundance, joy, and love, we become a beacon for similar energies in the external world. This isn't about forcing or manipulating. It's about becoming a vibrational match to what we desire. True attraction is a natural consequence of alignment. When your inner state is in harmony with the reality you wish to experience, that reality is drawn to you effortlessly. It's like a magnet attracting iron filings. The stronger and more consistent the magnet's field, the more filings it will draw. Your own inner vibrational state is that magnet, and the universe responds by bringing you the experiences that resonate with your deepest energetic signature. But if we are drawing everything through resonance, how do we ensure we are resonating with our highest potential and not just what's most immediately available around us? The principle of all is in all, when viewed through the lens of personal capability, suggests that the potential for anything that has ever existed or will exist already resides within you. The universe is the ultimate source, and you are a microcosm of that universe. This means that the qualities, talents, and strengths that you admire in others or that you perceive as being out there are already present within your own being, waiting to be recognized and activated. It's an incredible realization of your inherent completeness. This understanding shifts the focus from seeking external solutions or validation to recognizing and cultivating your own internal resources. If the universe contains all possibilities and you are a part of that universe, then all possibilities are potentially accessible to you. The journey then becomes one of inner exploration, of uncovering and awakening the latent powers and wisdom that are already present within your very essence. It's about realizing you already have what you seek. And if all this potential already resides within us, why do we so often feel limited or incapable of accessing it? The ultimate power lies in understanding and consciously applying these universal principles. They are not mere theories, they are the operating system of reality. By mastering these laws, you gain the ability to consciously shape your experiences, to transform challenges into opportunities, and to live a life aligned with your highest aspirations. This is not about manipulation, but about understanding the fundamental nature of creation and working in harmony with it, rather than against it. The journey into these principles is a journey of self-discovery, one that reveals the profound interconnectedness of all things and your own sovereign ability to create. It's an invitation to step into your power, to become the conscious architect of your destiny, and to live a life that truly reflects the extraordinary potential that resides within you. Are you ready to harness this power? Now be sure to subscribe for more health videos and hit that notification bell so you never miss a new video. We'll see you in the next one.